Hello and welcome to this ImagineFX Painter 2022 tutorial. Painter brushes, complexity through simplicity. In this video, I'll share with you some of my favorite brushes in this new edition of the software and how you can use them to achieve elaborated artworks through a simpler brush workflow. Many artists who are starting out their journey, as well as those new to Painter, can find themselves overwhelmed at some point because, let's be honest, there are so many brushes and so little time, to paraphrase Zappa in this context. So what to use and for what purpose to get started? Let's take Leonardo da Vinci's motto, less is more, to compose a palette of 5 essential brushes that can cover your artistic needs in a variety of aspects, all the way from sketches to paintings and polished illustrations. Our first brush is in the airbrushes category and it's the Soft. It is great for fine illustrations, concept art, realistic or stylized. Its most remarkable characteristic is the clean CG look, as well as soft transitions in gradients. You can build up color density by painting several times over the same spot, naturally forming a gradient. For color gradients, you can repeat the same process over one or several layers if you prefer. And this airbrush naturally layers up the colors in a very smooth way. If you increase the stroke jitter, you can use this brush to add some grain to your art and even do some texturing with it as well. In this portrait, for example, I have used high jitter to emulate skin pores and freckles, varying my brush size and setting the strokes to overlay or highlight compositing modes. Our second brush is in the blenders category, Messy Speckle Diffuser. Is your artwork looking too clean and you want to give it a bit more of expression or a more painterly look effortlessly? This brush can help you with that. I have used it for some city artworks, for example, giving a more expressive touch to a very clean graphic design. You can use it for paintings, you can use it for photographs, you can use it for anything. So there are 2 ways you can apply this brush. Option A, copy the image or part into a new layer and apply the brush. Or option B, in a new empty layer you can select pick up underlying color. So this way you don't need to copy the part of the image you are going to work on. Tip, you can give some of its edges a softer effect by using a big eraser in low opacity or combining it with a soft blender. Our third brush is one of my top favorites of all times. It's the Sargent brush in the Sargent category. It has a great balance between painterly oils and a digital look. I love especially its luminous, vibrant colors. Some of its main characteristics are its default blendability, hard edges, and slightly fractal-like blended strokes. The lower the resaturation and higher the bleed, the more it blends with the underlying colors or adjacent colors. Remember, not all painter brushes have this setting. Also, if you are more careful on your brush strokes, you can have finer gradients, while other times you can deliberately have hard edges for a different style or technique. So experiment with these possibilities. In this case, a slightly loose thumbnail realism study, I had a Sargent brush doing smooth color gradients. While here, on this fantasy portrait a character had composed, I deliberately used hard edges as part of the technique. Our fourth brush. It is another of the Sargent set, the Grainy Smear. With this brush you can do works that look like some oily charcoal, grayscale or sepia, or like oil paintings if you use it with colors, so it's like two brushes in one. I love using it for drawings and also to do paintings such as still life, for example. Like the airbrush, you can easily create gradients. On one end, you increase the number of overlaying strokes for more density. You can do it over the same layer or you can use multiple layers. Tip: when doing black and white or sepia, build gradients from light to dark and only at some points apply from dark to light. In this way, you can exercise your traditional skills all the while painting digitally. Our final brush is in the pencils category. It's the oily. It is very close to using a fine art pencil. It is great for sketching or fine drawings. By lowering the brush opacity or layer opacity, you can have versatility in varying values without having to change the color value at the color wheel. If you are using it in a medium to low values, you can combine it with high values Sargent Grainy Smear, emulating a more refined and pleasant coloring technique. There you are. I hope this video has been helpful to you. My last tip for you is that you take your time to explore Painter 2022's vast yet streamlined brush library and have fun with your discoveries. ImagineFX magazine and I thank you for watching. Visit creativeblog.com/ImagineFX for more inspiring articles and videos. And of course, buy your copies of ImagineFX at the newsstand or at the web shop.